English class. Today we are going to do lesson number 5, making a difference. Before we begin the lesson, I request you all to open your textbooks and have a pencil in your hand. Are you ready? Okay, let's begin. The lesson begins with an activity called Tickle the Mind. So after I finish explaining the lesson to you, I request you all to do this, and with the pencil that you have in your hand, as I read and explain the lesson to you, I want you all to underline the new words. New words are the words that you are learning for the first time, and difficult words, the spellings of words which you don't know. Okay, so that after the lesson is done, when you are free at home, you can learn the spellings. Shall we begin, children? Right. Read how a single man can make a difference in this world around himself. Now we all know that you, me, are we really making any difference to the people around? Are we? I request you all to think about it. But before that, let us get into the lesson where the lesson speaks about how a single man can be helpful to others. At the same time, he makes a difference to the people living around. It's a world full of suffering. The suffering is so deep, I thought I could never do anything to lessen it. Now, the story is a narrative story. That is, the person who has written this lesson, he is talking to you. The author is talking to you. He says the world is full of suffering. The suffering is so deep that he thought nothing can lessen the suffering. Right? At work, there is lot to complete, but don't know where to begin from. So he says when he is doing the work in the office, there is lot of work to complete. But how to do the work, how to organize the things, where to begin from, I am not understanding. Most of my friends have one or the other problems with which they are always busy. So everyone around us, like for example, your children are small, right? But your parents would know a lot of problems that they have. They keep discussing with each other. Yes, have you heard? They would be sharing with your grandparents, or they would be sharing with their friends when they come home. So the author says that everyone in this world has some problem or the other, and they are always busy with their problems. So seldom do I get time to speak to them. Seldom means very rarely. Hardly I find time to speak to my friends or people around. When I walk on the streets, I see a lot of beggars. Some are miserably helpless. They scream for alms, and I have thought enough to help them. So I walked away indifferently. So what happens when you walk on the road? Whom do you see across? Nowadays we don't have beggars at every point, but sometimes at the traffic signal lights, we do find people coming and begging. Yes, you have seen them? Right. So the author says, I have seen these people begging for food or money, but I am unable to do anything for them. I thought I will think about doing something differently for them, but I am unable to do it. As I drove back home, I see road accidents often. I see the injured lying on the road, bleeding and crying for help. I think I cannot help them as I don't have a car, but just a scooter to shift them to the hospital. So I quickly leave the place. Now what is the author here sharing with us? He says whenever he sees someone suffering, he wants to help those people. But because he is unable to do the help, he runs away from that place. Do you think he is doing the right thing? Yes? I know we can all help someone or the other. See, he may not be having a car to take the sick person or the injured person over there. But he can as well go help that person get up, make him sit comfortably on the platform, and then he can call the ambulance or inform the police so that they come and take the injured person. So, but here the author is confused. He doesn't know how to help these people. As I come home, I see my aged mother coughing and moaning. So what is this mourning? This word is like, we find that, old people or, someone when they are sick, they keep saying, out of weakness, right? So that is called mourning. So what happens is when he comes home, he sees that his mother is sick. She's aged, old. That means, right? So he brings medicines for her, and she's all the time coughing. And because they keep coughing continuously, they get pain in the chest, and that's the reason they become breathless. As she is sick, I think I'm helpful. So he's helpless when he's seeing the suffering of his mother. I'm helpless with her suffering as I am not the doctor. So we cannot treat them. We cannot help them also. We feel so bad. Why my mother is suffering? Can I help her? Can't I do something? So children, you would be having your old aged grandparents at your house, right? They must be sick. So you also would have experienced their pain. I have no hope about her health. So author says, I don't know her condition. How long she is going to be like this? Will she improve her condition? Will she stop coughing? Will her health improve? Now the author is expressing his sorrow. I am tired of all these, so I took a break and flew to Goa, a holiday destination on the coast of Arabian Sea. Now you would have learnt in your social studies, right? India is a peninsula. Three sides it's covered with water, and one side we have Himalayas, right? So where is the way? So the author went to Goa, right? So Goa is a holiday destination. We have a lot of foreigners every year visiting to this part of our country. So he went there and he wanted to enjoy the beach. The coast is there. One evening, I was walking down a deserted Goan beach at sunset. As I was walking along, I saw a man at a distance. As I drew nearer, I noticed him leaning down, picking something up and throwing it into the water. Time and again he kept throwing things into the water. So what happened? Once he reached Goa, the author relaxed, changed, freshened up, and he went for a walk on the beach. As he was walking on the beach, he saw a person doing something. What was the man doing there? He was bending, picking something up, and then throwing it into the water. He was continuously doing this. So, but he didn't know what he was picking up. So the author moved towards the man. As I approached even closer, I noticed that the man was picking up starfish that had been washed up on the beach. He was throwing them one by one back into the water. So what was this old man throwing? He was throwing starfish. Starfish is shaped like a star. Okay. So when the water is high and low, they keep coming to the what? To the coast, and we find them on the beach everywhere. So they cannot live without water. So what this man was trying to do, he was trying to pick them up and throw them back into the water. He was trying to give them life again, right? And what happened to the author? He was puzzled. He didn't understand what is this man doing, what is he trying to do. I approached the man and said, "Good evening, friend. I was wondering what you were doing." So he asked him, "What are you trying to do?" There are thousands of fishes, right? So when the tide comes, along with the tide, lot of starfish will come to the coast. So the author didn't understand what this gentleman was doing. So when the author asked the man what he was doing, the man replied, "I am throwing these starfish back into the sea. You see, it's low tide right now, and all these starfish have been washed up onto the shore. If I don't throw them back into the sea, they die here for lack of oxygen." So you understood now why the man was picking up the starfish? He said now the tide is low, so all the fish have come to the coast, and if I don't throw them back, they are going to die with lack of oxygen. You all know that we require oxygen to breathe, plants also require oxygen to breathe, animals require oxygen to breathe, right? So now here the starfish also require oxygen to breathe, and that's the reason the man was picking up and trying to throw them back into the water. "I understand," I replied, "but there must be thousands of starfish on this beach. You can't possibly get all of them. They are simply too many. And don't you realize this is probably happening on hundreds of beaches all up and down this coast? Don't you see that you can't possibly make a difference? So what did the author say? He told the man, see, there are hundreds and thousands of starfish along the beach, and the beach is not ending here. It is all along the coast, right? Wherever Arabian Sea is there, all through that the coastline, and also on the other sides of India, the other side, the western and eastern Ghats, everywhere it is there. So how will you make a difference for so many fish, he asked.